talking about using it as an instrument for social change, you're asking for big trouble. Sir.
Professor, I'm Edward Hockman from New York City. India and China have had sometimes hostile and certainly competitive relationship. Where does India fit into all this?
Some people will say to me that they think that India could be as powerful as China, and India really might be the next threat on the horizon, especially if China stumbles. I think this is wrong. I think that India cannot be a potential peer competitor. I think the problem is that India has significant internal constraints that will limit its growth. It has real problems with human capital. It has a huge number of people who are illiterate, has a very high birth rate to boot, and it's not going to be an adversary of the United States in any meaningful way. I think India and the United States will be close allies if China continues to rise. I often ask students, why do you think it is that India and the United States have quite close relations today? And the answer, axiomatically, it's a stereotypical American answer, is because both countries are democracies. But you can't make that argument because both countries were democracies in the Cold War, and we did not have good relations, right? The reason we have such good relations today, and those relations will improve, is because of the Chinese threat, right? The Indians live in mortal fear of the Chinese, in part because they have border disputes with them, and secondly, because, as I said in my talk, they understand that the Chinese, if they continue to grow, will build a blue water naval capability and will try and project power through the Indian Ocean, through the Arabian Sea, into the Persian Gulf. That means they're coming through their backyard, and the Indians are very worried about that. So, of course, the Americans and the Indians will come together. So India will be part of the balancing coalition, in my opinion, against China, and it will not be in any meaningful way an adversary. Yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
we have time for one more question.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Sheila Ranis from Walsh College. You have a premise that the United States has a grand strategy. And honestly, sir,
This is the question I feared.
do you really think we have one? Because I do not.